Number 6E. I have what looks like a rotated square or rectangle. In this case, it says that it is square. And then in that, somewhat that center, or what we've learned already is a geometric center of that shape, we have some concentric circles with other circles being placed at quadrants. So this is imperial. It's going to be relatively small. I've got curved corners here. Those are called fillets. And then I have a chamfer here, which is the beveled or angled corner. If you can imagine this original square, we took those right angles, those right or sharp corners, and turned them into curved and or angled or beveled corners. So that's what we got going on. We're going to use fillet and chamfer, maybe. Now I'll come back to this, but just to give you a hint, we're not actually going to use chamfer, and there's a reason why. But let's go ahead and start with a rectangle. I know I have a rectangle 4.4 square. Again, pretty small. Before I rotate this, now it's okay, but I could have rotated it and then done something different, or I can do it now. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and start with fillet. Now, fillet I show as a radius of 0.56. That is incorrect, so I'll either click on the R or R right click and give it a new radius of 0.8. And these are opposite corners. What's going on here? Well, it should be obvious, and if not, it's okay. Do fillet again, and notice down here on your control settings, or on the command line, your current settings, mode is no trim. Okay, well, I forgot to change that. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Now I can go ahead and change it. I can undo and redo it with the change, or I can just go ahead and trim and call it good. Now, next time I'll need to remember, double check that current setting like I should have done. Or if I want to make sure, I can go ahead and go here, trim, and there I go. Right click again, and trim is now the current setting. So that one is good. Chamfer, which is up here at fillet, drop it down. Chamfer, again, it's an angled corner. What's going on with this? Well, let's see. Let's do it. Chamfer, and or I could type C, that's circle, CH, Y, that's properties. I can't tell you. CHA is chamfer. Right click. Now it's asking for select first line. I'll just go ahead and select here, and I'll go ahead and select there. Now that one's nice, but I never did say what size it is. Real quick, and I want you to play with this. I'm not going to get into too much of a demonstration. CHA, right here in your current settings, is distance 1, distance 2. And then down here on your options, undo polyline, distance, angle, trim, method, and multiple. Now here, distance for D, it's asking distance 1, and I'll just go ahead and say it's that long. Now it's asking distance 2. Now if I right click, it accepts exactly the same thing as distance 1. Otherwise, I can give it something real small. Now it's asking, go ahead and select the points, and I'll click here and here. Notice distance 1 is the vertical, and distance 2 is the horizontal. Now let me undo that, and I will do CHA again. And now notice when I undid, that changed back to what the distances were originally. So again, I'll do distance, and I'll say distance 1 is the long one, distance 2 is the short one. And in this case, I'll click here and then here. So again, what is distance 1? Distance 1 is the first line that I select. Distance 2 is the second line. Originally, the long one was the vertical, and the short one was the horizontal. Let me do it again. I'll click here and here. Notice as it changes it, because distance 1 is the first line that I select. Distance 2 is the second one. So in many, many cases, what we have actually, or at least that I've come across, distance 1 and 2 are equal. They are the same distance, hence being a 45-degree angle, bevel, chamfer, so on and so forth. Now, I said we're not actually using chamfer. That's because I don't know the distance from what was this corner down to this point or to this point. All I know is the distance from this quadrant or the center of this small circle to what we would call the chamfer is a 0.6. So again, chamfer sure looks like a chamfer. It is a chamfer. Problem is, I don't know the chamfer distance. So I'm not going to use chamfer. I have to go a different route. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate this. That is 45 degrees. Okay. And then I'll do the circle. Now, where is the circle? I could have done the center lines. Maybe I should have. I still can. Or I know I can use these endpoints, and this right here, there is a midpoint. Now you got to be careful. I had two things popping up, perpendicular and midpoint. And I want the midpoint, and that's what's showing. You can still see the triangle there, and I'll move over. So here is the center. Okay. And diameter of that circle is 4. And then if I simply draw a line from here over, and then either copy or move this up a distance 0.6, and then extend. I just right click for anything and move it there. Now this is a polyline. This is a polyline. And then I had fillets changed or added to it. This would have kept it all as a polyline if I had the trim mode. Here, let me show you what I mean by that real quick. I will do a fillet. The radius is 0.8, which is what I want. And the trim is, the mode is trim. So I click there, right click, and here, and I'm done. Now if I hover over, that whole thing is highlighted. A lot of times when you're messing with polylines, you do fillets, you do chamfers, it's going to presume that you still want that to be a polyline, and it's going to connect them or join them, which we saw previously right here on the modify drop down for J, or J for join. So in this case, now I'm going to trim, and I'll select both, or select all. There. And I can either redraw this, I'll just mirror it from quadrant down, trim, select all, and there I go. Now I can do my inner circle being a diameter of 1.88, and then I can do the smaller circles located at the quadrants. D for diameter, 0.7, and then right click for the center location, right click to keep the last radius or diameter size that I gave it. Let's go ahead and do the center lines. Now, instead of just drawing them randomly and then placing them, at least I can do is hover and get it aligned with exactly where it belongs. So I'll go a little farther. Now these two wouldn't really be expected to be the same size. They can be, but wouldn't necessarily be expected to be the same size because the width and the height is not equal. So in this case, I'm going to show where that circle is, and then I'm going to show where this line is. So I'm going to grab it and bring it over. Now, clicking this, I see that this is that vertical center line and bring it down. And now, and if I want, I can show, and actually this line here would also be a center line. So that's most likely what it should look like. And this one is done.